Welcome to the Stories That Sparkle. I'm Hella Rader, and OMG, I am so excited about this episode. So if I get a little bit revved up, that's why. Woohoo! I sit down with Mandi Dixon. You may know her from Instagram at ADHD Menopause Therapist. She's amazing. She puts out a crap ton of amazing, really real content on her Instagram page to help all of us out here navigating perimenopause, menopause, and or ADHD. And especially if you've got the combo pack on, you will want to listen to this episode. Or if you love a woman who's going through all of that and has all of those three things happening, please, you're going to want to listen to this. It'll be so helpful to you because Mandi shares from the perspective of her personal journey with getting diagnosed as ADHD, struggling through perimenopause, discovering for herself the connection between those two things, and then ultimately finding ways to be of service and to help get the word out to all of us who are going through the same thing ourselves. So yeah, she's amazing. She's incredible. I met her on Instagram. And when I discovered that she was in Dallas or around Dallas and on my route for the Discoball Tour, I had to reach out to her. And thankfully, she was willing to sit down with me and record this conversation. So yeah, it's the 4th episode of the Discoball Tour. It's the first conversation I have in Dallas. And it's just a real joy and a delight. And I'm so grateful. So I invite you to get comfortable, sit back, and listen in. I'm Hella Rader. With a good sense of humor, an open heart, and an open mind, I love to explore the very human complexities in others and in myself. That's why I created a space for women you have never heard of and could easily pass on the street to share in their own voices the intricacies of starting over in life, building community, inhabiting their bodies, and more. Welcome to our Disco Ball, the stories that sparkle. All right, y'all. Well, here we are in Allen, Texas, basically Dallas, Texas. I'm here with Mandi Dixon, aka at ADHD Menopause Therapist on Instagram.
Yes.
Which is where we met.
Yes.
Which was so fun. So a friend of mine reposted in her stories one of your reels or stories or something. Mm-hmm. And she did it a few times. I'm like, who is this woman? Because I love everything I was seeing. So then I checked it out and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to talk to her. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm going to be in Dallas on the Discoball Tour and maybe we can meet up. And it worked out.
It did work out.
Oh, I'm so excited. Yay.
I'm always curious, what specific thing or what it was that I posted that resonated with people. I always am curious about that. I am somebody that doesn't put a lot of, I think I am quite a bit impulsive when it comes to creativity. I know a lot of people have people that manage their social media or that make things for them, or they'll make it all in one day and then they'll schedule it. And I don't do that. If the moment strikes me, I've jumped out of the shower before and got my phone, and my husband is like, what are you doing? I'm like, I have an idea. I have an idea and I have to go with it. And I'm very spontaneous, I guess, like that. So it always makes me curious to what is it that, that people resonated with other people that was resonating with me.
I don't remember the exact one, but I can tell you that exact vibe is what drew me to. I could feel that energy of this lady's just making what feels right to her.
Yeah.
It feels real. And that's what drew me to it.
Oh, well, I'll even like that even better.
Yeah. So I couldn't tell you the exact words or things you said, but I was like, yeah. Oh my gosh, this woman is doing it for reals.
Yeah.
So
I have often understood now, I think, why people manage it for them. I want to read every single comment and respond to every single one, and I was really trying to at first. I wish I had somebody that could go and take all the comments and put them in a smaller way for me to just read them so that I could read them all. But I don't trust anybody to do that, so
Right.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, it's a very, I mean, this is the whole ADHD thing which is what drew me also, because I'm like, I have the ADHD, although I've never been officially by a doctor or a specialist or whatever. Like, I never did test or got diagnosed, but I'm like, I don't think we don't need to do that. It's pretty clear. I have all the things.
Yeah, and I
So-
think self-diagnosis is just as valid if,
Yeah.
you know, if it helps you learn about yourself and grow and all of that.
Yeah, and it was interesting because I didn't make that connection until like 5 years ago, that's what it was.
Uh-huh.
I didn't have a name I didn't put a name to it. I was actually chatting with a girlfriend who was like, oh yeah, that's ADD, ADHD, and those are countermeasures. I'm like, counter what? Like, what are you talking about? And so we had this whole conversation. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. I have a system for things. If I don't see it, put it in a place and look at it, I don't remember where it is. Like, I have a whole thing. Like, I'm like, oh, that's all connected.
Yeah,
So
that's all your ways that you invented to cope.
that's right. That's right. So one of the things you talk about a lot is how when women enter perimenopause and or then later, obviously, menopause, the ADHD gets worse, or the ADHD makes the perimenopause feel worse.
Yeah.
So could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, that is what really, just personally, what I went through myself. I know it was probably about, so I was like in my later 30s, and I was just not feeling like myself. Of course, that's what I always hear from women. And I was going to doctor, trying to figure it out. And one doctor said, I think you have ADHD. And I was like, no, I don't, you know. And so I did the, you know, assessment and everything, and they diagnosed me. I just didn't believe it. I was like, no, that's not what it is. So I kind of continued on my journey of trying to figure out this perimenopause thing, but I didn't have a name for that. So once I finally figured that out, and then I got actual help, you know, from a menopause specialist, got those symptoms under control, or somewhat under control, I guess. Still, there was just this piece of like, why is this so hard for me? Why? Because I'll see other people, my friends, you know, they'll go through perimenopause or start, and they're not like flipping out the way I am. Like their whole body isn't, you know, feel like it's falling apart, or, you know, they're not loud and dramatic about it. They're not like pounding their fists like, why is nobody doing this, anything about this, the way that I was. And I started, I don't remember what it was. I can't remember. I was reading something, and it was talking about how, you know, more about like how women look diagnosed with ADHD, just how it presents differently in women. And so I started, you know, kind of reading more about that, and I'm like, wow, maybe I do have it. And so I really just got into more of the research, and this is the crazy thing, is I had gone through training. So in grad school, they give you a little bit about everything, like a little bit of knowledge about every kind of disorder.
Right, because you're a licensed therapist.
Yes.
And you also do EMDR, which we can talk about a little bit in the second, and like a little bit later, because I would like to hear more about that too. But so you've gone to grad school for therapy.
Yeah.
What was your focus in terms of therapy in grad school?
So I got a first master's in human relations. So that was just sort of, I don't really know what that was, but after that, I was like, no, I don't like this, so I'm going to do another one. So clinical mental health counseling is what I got my second master's in. So again, it's just a very broad area of counseling, and you know, they encouraged us to pick a counseling modality that we liked, whether it's CBT or person-centered, or there's all these different modalities, and you can just sort of, you know, gear your focus, your strategy that way. But they give you, you know, a very general understanding of all the different diagnoses and, you know, history and pharmacology. So they just set you up, and then it's really up to you to decide what area you really want to focus more in. And so for me, at the beginning, I was really working with just all kinds of people, a lot of girls and teens. I had little kids at home, and so I didn't love focusing on kids as much just because I dealt with that at home. And so it kind of started to be teens and adults. But my son was diagnosed with ADHD when he was 5 or 6, I can't remember. And again, I didn't really believe it. And I saw how much he was struggling at school. And I just, again, you sort of have to seek out this extra training yourself once you have once you're licensed. If you want to learn more about a certain thing, you take continuing education credits. You can go get, certified or trained in other things like EMDR or, whatever you're interested in. So I was really interested in learning more about ADHD with him just because I wanted to be able to help him. So I went through executive functioning training. I got trained as an executive functioning ADHD coach. That was really a long program, but it was during the very beginning parts of COVID. So, I didn't have a whole lot to do, so it was kind of fun and interesting. And still, even with that, even learning about how it looks in girls, I still did not put the connection together that it was me.
Wow. And what do you think that was about? Like, was it just like, no, I reject this being my thing? Like, what do you think that was about for you, that you were like, nope, can't see it, don't want to see it, even when I get a paper saying it, I don't want to believe it? Like, what do you think that was about?
I think it was seeing my son the way that he struggled, and my husband as well. So my husband was diagnosed when he was very young as well, and struggled in school, struggled in college, in the setting of school, right? Not in other areas. And my son, same thing. And I could see, my son struggling to pay attention to school. And just, I say this all the time, like, some people are just good at school. Not necessarily that they're smart, but they're just good at school. They know in that setting, they tend to thrive. And some people really struggle in that setting. So my son was just really struggling in that area. And when I learned about ADHD, and I think I really minimized my own struggles a lot because they looked so different than what they look like in my son. And I guess my husband too, when he was younger, from what he says.
Wow. So it was like, I can't identify with that, so it can't be that.
Yeah, it was all, I don't know, I did so well in school, and it was very easy for me. And seeing him struggle, and I knew the reason that he was struggling was because of his ADHD. And to say, well, I have that too, and I didn't struggle, it was almost like taking that away or something. And I just didn't want to do that. I could not get to that place in my head to say, well, I have it too, and I did fine.
Right. So like, was it almost like, if I say that, then I'm making you bad or wrong somehow, my child whom I love and I want to support?
Yes. So I just didn't want to, I didn't want to believe that's what I had, because I'm not falling apart in school the way I see him. And I know why he is because of all these struggles. So I'm just like, that's not what it is with me. And it never was.
Yeah, it's interesting because for me, it's similar. I was very good at school. I loved being in school because I learn being around people. I actually can focus because there's a lot of noise around me. So I get hyper focused. So actually for me, that environment was really positive. So similarly, I would never have guessed then that the other symptoms that turns out a lot of them are ADHD related, that was what's going on for me. Like, maybe now in retrospect, I'm like, oh, well, that would make sense. Because I also was very good in school, at school, had no problems there focusing when I was in the room, because I think now, because there was all this other noise around me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And my brain could go relax in the background and focus on the task at hand. That's how it shows up for me.
Yeah, it shows up that way for a lot of people.
Right. So that can be confusing, because when we hear ADHD, and the medication for that, I've always associated with, like, fidgety, they can't sit still in a classroom, is up and around, right? I mean, I can be that way clearly, but differently. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it just shows up a lot of times for boys very differently than it does for girls, but a lot of the issues are the same. I notice my son, he struggles a lot with big emotions. That can be hard, that emotional regulation part, and that's very similar to me and what I struggled with too. But at the time, and even up until I was in my 30s, I just thought that was just being a girl. That's just being a girl, a dramatic girl.
Right.
You know?
Yes. Oh, yeah, I got that a lot. Don't be so dramatic.
Oh, yeah, me too.
You know, because I would flip out.
Me too.
And then be fine for 6 months and then flip out. It was like a thing. I call it the ticking time bomb. They're like, when's it going to go off? We never know with this lady. Yeah. But yeah, it was like a girl thing. Is what I thought of it as too.
Yeah. So I think the similarities that I can now see that we do have, I just attributed mine to being a girl, not necessarily with ADHD.
Right.
But now it sort of makes sense.
Right. So you were saying that you then, so when you, so you got focused because of your son, you focused in on the ADHD in terms of your continuing education and other specializing studies that you did. And then at some point in your 30s, you start perimenopause. And you were saying about, you know, you were exploring how to get help for that. Like, how did you even identify that this was perimenopause? And how did you find, because I think this is often a difficult thing for women, even if they feel like, oh, I think I'm in perimenopause, finding a doctor who's menopause informed.
Yeah, well, that was a lot of trial and error. I did not have the word perimenopause. I knew that it was my hormones, and I kept telling people, I'd watched my mom go through it too. And I remember my mom, it just, you know, having a terrible, terrible time. And she would always say, it's PMS. But it was always like, it was just this constant thing with her, and watched her suffer through that. And I could feel it happening to myself, and I knew it was my hormones. So I would go to the gynecologist, and they said it was PMDD.
What's PMDD?
That's premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So it's like a very, it's a very severe form of PMS.
Got it. So it's cycle related.
Oh yeah, it's like PMS. So I would say every woman normally experiences PMS on some level, right? But it shouldn't interfere with the functioning of your life. And with PMDD, it very much does. So your mood, your energy, all of it can just really, and it can go all the way down to like even feeling suicidal, you know, in that time. And so it's just a very more severe form of it. So I got diagnosed with that. And so that made sense, I guess, but the treatment is birth control pills or antidepressants or both. And I don't know, it just didn't set right with me. Like, so, okay, this is a thing and I'm just supposed to like suffer with it. Like, just give me a hysterectomy or something, like make it all stop, because this is awful. So I kept just, you know, I don't think I ever took birth control pills. I don't know why. I think it's because in my mind, I just knew that I just knew there was something else. There's something else. So I just kept looking, kept searching. I ended up cutting dairy out of my diet because I thought that my symptoms seemed to get worse, you know, with inflammation and dairy. So I cut dairy out and I felt a little better. And I was just sort of on this like path to figure this out myself, because nobody seemed to want to help me. And
did you have friends or other people around you? Or it didn't sound like, I mean, you were kind of like were you talking about it with other women that you know?
I was, but nobody else seemed to have it as bad as I did.
Oh, right. Yeah. So you're like, something wrong with me.
Yeah, it's something.
So I'm on my own over here.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, like, you know, I remember, you know, other women my friends would talk about like their cycles or something getting weird, and they would just all look at me and be like, well, it's not as bad as, you know, what you're going through, because like they all knew like I'm over here like falling apart.
Right.
And you know, I don't know, it was like I just had this really severe form of it, and it was affecting every single part of my life, which was really, really sucked. And I did find a doctor that listened to me, and she's like, I do believe that it's your hormones. She said, but I just don't know enough about them, but I'll send you to this hormone specialist. And this was a while ago. So I went to him. God, I hate talking about this, because you know, when you just meet people and you get that slimy feel, even though like, all of his Google reviews were wonderful, right? He's amazing. He's a great doctor. He's an OBGYN. He's highly respected, all of this. I just got this slimy feel, and I don't know. But he had this poster in his office that said, are you feeling, low energy, low mood, low libido, more anxiety, can't sleep, all the things that I was feeling. And I just remember getting like teary, like, oh my God, like this is it. Well, the solution was testosterone pellets. And I didn't know anything about it, so I'm thinking, okay, this is why I feel like this. It's my low testosterone. So, they did a blood test, and he comes back very low. I think it was like 4 or 7 or something. Oh, this makes sense. Let's do this, So anyway, that took me down the whole pellet thing, which it ended up making my symptoms far worse.
Really?
Much better at first, but I understand now why they do that. How, all of that testosterone does make you feel better at first, and then, the longer you go, it just made everything much, much worse.
Wow. And the pellet's now in you, right?
Yeah, they put it,
Like insert it.
Yeah, it's like
so you can't like adjust. Yeah.
No, so after, going through that, and I just remember being like at my lowest, like I know this isn't it. Like something is wrong about this. You just have that gut intuition. Like and it was just so frustrating that I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know how to get help or whatever. And I don't even remember where it was that I heard the word perimenopause. I read it, I saw it, and then finally I was like, that actually makes sense.
So even this slimy guy, we'll just call him Mr. Slime, slimy, even though he's a hormone doctor situation and has all the things, the poster and the testosterone pellets, even he didn't connect the dots with perimenopause or use the word?
So what I've found out since then is that these pellet companies, I don't want to get like sued for defamation or anything, but I won't name any pellet company names, but they go because nobody is trained about menopause. The doctors, we know that now, like they didn't get the training. So they will go to these doctors and approach them. Yeah, have you seen women in your practice, low mood, low energy? And of course they all say yes. Well, here's this new product. It's testosterone. It's a pellet. It's not, you can't use your insurance. It's $400 out of pocket. You get trained to do this for these women, you're going to be making a crap ton of money. So the doctors, then they present them with research and this and that, and it all makes sense. So of course they're getting trained on menopause by these pellet companies. And so that's their training. So yes, he was slimy, but I guess that was the training that he got.
Right.
So
right. So yeah, you're right. I mean, there's that movie, The M Factor, talks a lot about. I mean, it was one of the first places I heard them talk about in a very concise, really like constructive way. I thought about how there's just doctors just aren't being trained. Like there's like 5 minutes about it, like kind of like what you were talking about with your master's degree. It's very general.
Yeah.
And so there's like 5 minutes about menopause, and then they keep it moving. And most of those doctors don't really know they're not trained sufficiently. Yeah.
No, they're not. And I think that is hopefully changing. It is changing now. But I think at the time maybe he thought that was a good choice. Maybe he thought that was the best option. But I think at this point he should know different.
Right.
But anyway, that is just what then, that whole injustice sensitivity thing where you're like, how can you do this to people?
Right. Yeah, which is another ADHD symptom, is the injustice. I'm like, oh, when you ask me, I'm like, oh yeah, hell yeah, girl.
Yeah.
I'm like, who do I gotta beat up? I'm going to go take charge, and we're going to change the world about this thing.
Yeah, this one thing that people suffer with.
Yeah.
So after all of that, I found the Menopause Society, which is all research-based evidence, all of that, read everything that they put out. I joined it as a professional, and I thought, I just want to focus on menopause issues in midlife, as far as like counseling. Like that's what I want to do. Because I know that I struggled so much, and then, I was duped, I was lied to, I was all of this taken advantage of, and this is sort of the area that I want to focus on. So that's what I was doing in terms of like just counseling. And then I don't remember exactly what it was, like I said, where I started really learning more about how ADHD looks with women, and really understanding how that neurodivergent link makes the menopause so much worse. And then it was like, holy crap, that's why I had it so bad, or do have it, experience it so much, more intensely. That is why, it is that much worse for me.
Right. Do you take hormone replacement now?
I do.
Like
yes.
Is it like a, what's your method? Is it a patch or yeah?
Yeah. So I have the patch, and when you have estrogen patch and you have a uterus, you have to take a form of progesterone.
Right.
So I tried to take the oral progesterone, and I just am not tolerant to it, which I know a lot of neurodivergent women are not. They are also intolerant. And I wish that I knew more about that, but it's very complicated, and I just don't have the education or knowledge about it to really talk about it. But I just know that I can't take it. So I have an IUD to protect my uterus, and also stopped my period. So that is kind of a twofer there.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. So in 2016, I had a hysterectomy because I had fibroids the size of coconuts and lemons.
Jeez.
I mean, I was like looking like a preggers lady.
That is, and they're painful too,
Very
right?
painful. It turns out I also had like just a ginormous amount of endometriosis. Like endo all over the place.
In your organs and everything?
Yeah. Like when they went in to take the fibroids out, they were like, holy cow.
And they never know it until they get in there, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know it.
Part of it, I mean, I was like, oh, well, after the surgery, she's like, did you have painful periods? I'm like, psh, that's an understatement. And painful sex, that's an understatement. It just wasn't pleasurable because it was so painful all the time. And my periods, I mean, I was debilitated for like 24 hours.
Yep.
And I had no idea because I was disconnected from my body, which is why I do a lot of somatic work, which we can talk about. But anyway, so, they left one ovary so that I wouldn't go into instant menopause. But I was clearly that by this point now in perimenopause, for sure. And my doctor finally, when I started it was when I got the hot flashes every night at 3 a.m. on the dot. And so he was like, there's no amount of black cohosh, lady, that's going to help you. You're not going to supplement your way out of this. So he did a lot of hormone testing, and I actually have a compounded cream, which I like simply because I also don't have a uterus to worry about. I just, it was all gone at that point. So it was a little easier in that regard. And so, there's progesterone in there as well. And so, but what's nice about the cream that I liked was that I could titrate back up and down. Like I could dose myself based on how I was feeling. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So, yeah. Yeah,
and my doctor now that I have is wonderful, and she has talked to me about that, the compounded. But she's been very, very helpful with me as far as the patches, because I have told her, like, sometimes I need a little, like I want all the doses of the patches. I want every single dose, because I know like the days that I need like a little bit more or a little bit less. Anyway, so she's been very willing to like work with me on that.
Right.
And just that's her thing, is like trusting that we know our bodies, and if we're saying this is what's happening, then just trust us to know.
Right. No, you're so right. That's huge. My doctor also is very like, okay, because I'm like, look, I sometimes won't take it at all because I can feel I don't need it. I don't know how to explain that. It's not a medical document, but my body's like, I just literally will forget, not because of ADHD. It's like my body's like, we don't need it right now. And then I'm like, nope, we need it again. And then I can sort of self-titrate and up or down because of the cream. So I agree. Like having a doctor that you can talk to, who's listening to you, who believes you. Oh,
it makes such a difference.
Yeah, and trusts you to know your own body.
Yeah, she's talked to me about the cream like as a next option, or as an alternative option if I ever, these patches aren't working out, or I get tired of them or whatever. So yeah. I'm glad to know that it works for you though. That's good to know.
It really works for me. It's because he was like, we can do a pellet. I mean, he was it was a functional, holistic
Yep.
medicine person. So it wasn't similar to the slimy, but
Yeah.
it was different than slimy. But he was like, there's different, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want anything in me. So that was just my feeling at the time. So I'm like, let's do the cream. If that's an option, let's do the cream.
Yeah.
So thankfully, where I live, there happens to be a compounding pharmacy, but that's not also always the case.
Yeah.
So
The slimy pellet, so there are, I think, ethical pellets.
Sure.
I have talked to people and they do it much differently, and it's this specific pellet thing, it is, I believe their headquarters is here somewhere in the Dallas area. They just have infiltrated this whole area, and all the providers. Anyway, it's just this deep-seated hatred that I have
get
for
it.
them. It is.
I
but
get
no,
it.
I have talked to people that do have good experiences, but I
Right.
don't think that anybody should be offered that as a first line of treatment for, I don't think a testosterone pellet as a first line of treatment for perimenopause is ethical in any way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's more complicated. And to your point, we're
Yes.
all different.
Yes.
And so, getting proper testing and like, what does this woman need
Mm-hmm.
specifically? It's not a one size fits all situation.
It's not. And most of those symptoms that you start to first experience aren't caused by low testosterone. They're caused by your lowering progesterone, which is what first starts to go, and why you feel you wake up in the middle of the night, or you feel more anxious, or those kind of things. And then the lower estrogen, that is sort of what you first start to notice.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whew. So your personal journey got you like, oh, this is perimenopause, and then you got to the right doctors who were listening to you, who had information to help you and get you a treatment plan that works for you, and sounds like working with you and are open to your feedback in terms
Yeah.
of you and trusting you to know your own body in that journey. So what's your journey been like then in terms of building this into your practice, your mental health practice with your clients?
Well, I think just seeing that, so I think I'm very fortunate in that we have good health insurance, we have resources, I have all the mental health knowledge and resources and access that, possibly could want. And still, like, I struggled, and still I was, taken advantage of and misinformed and all of it. And so I think about people that don't have access to that. They're not as fortunate in that way. Like, what are they supposed to do? And I don't know, I think that's what really drives me to just put out as much free education as I can. And that's sort of why I started posting on social media, is to let other people know, like, hey, this could be what's going on. This is how you can ask for help. This is what you should look for in terms of getting help. So that has just really been really important to me.
Right. Wow. Yeah. And you were mentioning earlier that, you're seeing, you get to see, because you're seeing it on all the sides. I'm sure between all the feedback you're getting on social media, and then just the women you work with, you're getting to see all the angles. Does that help you too, like on your continuing journey?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think absolutely it helps me. There's nothing better than like seeing somebody who maybe was late diagnosed with ADHD, and then sort of going through those emotions of like just the anger and the shame and the bitterness, and all of it, of how your life could have been different if you would have known early on. So I haven't told you this, but like my 20s were a total shit show.
Oh, hell yeah.
Total shit show. And when you drive by like a gas station or like a car dealership, those blow up things that like flail their arms.
Oh, yeah.
That is what was me, like the whole 20s. So yeah, my life would have been very different if I would have known back then. And
Right.
so I've dealt with all of those feelings and emotions too.
Right.
But until I knew that was likely because of being undiagnosed ADHD, I thought that was just, that I was responsible for all of that, and I, was just worthless, and all the things that come with, all of that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I always felt broken. Like I was just
yeah.
irreparably broken in my soul. Like if I cannot get this under control, then I'm just that kind of broken. Yeah.
I remember just like looking at, just seeing, being in like in my apartment complex and seeing other people like walk from their car to their apartment and you know, do their thing or whatever. And I just remember thinking like, why is this so easy for them? Like, how can they just get their stuff, go to school, go to work, come back? Like, why can't I do that? Like, why is this so hard for me? But I don't know, it all makes sense now. It makes so much sense. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, in this whole journey, you're married and you're raising children. So how do you navigate that?
I think for me, putting a name to it. So I would, you know, early on before I really knew what was going on, I just knew that things felt too much. Like the kids would be too loud, or the dog would be wanting, you know, just being a dog. Maybe my husband would be talking or whatever, and I would just want to go in the bedroom, like where it was quiet. And because it was just overstimulating, way overstimulating, and I would get very irritated. That's sort of what that anxiety looked like in me. So once I recognized what that was and why I was feeling like that, now I can just say, you know, I'm feeling really overstimulated right now. It's really loud, but so I'm gonna go in the bedroom for like 10 minutes and just sort of like center myself. And so I'll be right back. So just being able to calmly say that to them, like, hey, this is how I'm feeling right now. This is what I need. And this is what I need you to do, has really changed everything. It's changed everything. Because before I would sit there and just, you know, tolerate it, and it would just, you know, peck and peck at me until I just exploded, like, oh my gosh, you're being so loud, I can't stand this anymore. I just go in the bedroom, you know, and now everybody's like, wow, she's really mad, mom's really mad. And then, you know, my husband would probably feel like, what the heck is wrong with her? She hates everyone, she hates everything. But now, just having the language, having the education to be able to calmly say, recognize how I'm feeling and be able to say it and then ask for what I need has really changed everything. You know, being a woman and being able to ask for what you need is really hard for a lot of us.
Yeah. I just had a whole conversation about intentional intimacy, because I was chatting with someone who she and her partner sleep in separate bedrooms. And that brought up all kinds of things for me about intimacy, not just physically intimacy, but just that whole like asking for what I want or need, like directly and clearly, and taking up that kind of space without taking up all the space, or, you know, trying to get into someone else's space, but just holding my own and saying, this is what I want, or this is what I need. Oh my gosh, it felt like it was going to kill me.
And not feeling guilty about that.
Yeah.
Just being able to ask for what you need, and not feeling any other thing.
Yeah.
Shame or guilt or anything.
Yeah. I mean, like when you were talking about your 20s, I mean, there's no way I had any capacity to do that in my 20s, for sure.
No.
Even my 30s, I'm like, no. Like, I would
Tolerated a lot of things you shouldn't have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's pretty common, you know. I think with maybe just women in general, it's more common. But you add in like neurodivergent women, who our research says that are more likely to be victims of abuse.
Right. I saw, you posted about that recently, and that really stood out to me, because that was certainly, you know, I was like, it's another factor when we go, why didn't she leave?
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, it's comforting a little bit for me to know, like, well, I hung in there in an unacceptable situation, in part because just biologically, physiologically, there was something in me that made it harder. Like, stacked even more things against me being able to take the action of leaving.
Yeah. And I think when you grow up, your whole life, you've been told, you're too dramatic, you're too much, you're too this, you're too that. You start to believe it. So when you feel something isn't right, but the world is telling you it's you that's the problem, then it makes you a lot less likely to speak up or just believe what anybody's telling you. You're more likely to believe when people say, you know, no, you're the problem here. It's not me that's, you know, abusive. It's you that's the problem.
Right.
You believe that.
Right. Yeah. Oof. No, when you posted that, I was like,
Yeah, I need to talk about that more.
Yeah, it was
the reasons why.
Yeah, because I think it was really helpful to me, to also go like, oh, it's another piece of the puzzle for me to also let go of my own shame around it. Not feel like I have to always defend and explain why, all of the things, and just like it helped me have a little bit more acceptance of myself.
Yeah.
Around all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like compassion. Like,
Exactly.
oh, girl, you were shouldering a lot. So relax about it. Like, you did okay. You're doing all right.
Yeah.
You're okay.
Yeah.
You're okay now.
Yeah, I think having that compassion for ourselves, like, when we were younger, really can empower us now even more. And I think if you understand that the way your brain works and the way that you sort of coped with that your whole life makes you more likely to, believe people or put yourself, I don't want to say put yourself in situations, but find yourselves in situations where you're trusting other people that may not have your best interests at heart, because you're feeling things more intensely than a lot of other people, and you're looking for help, and you believe people when they say that they'll help you.
Right.
You want to believe them.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why with the menopause being such a Wild West area right now, it really is, with people not being trained. I think that people that are neurodivergent just need to be on their guard, and they need to know that, a lot of people make promises that maybe aren't true.
So where would be a good place for someone to go, if you have a resource or a spot, like, to find, or like, what's a good way to find a good provider? I mean, obviously, the Texas area or this part of Texas and not the whole country, but just what are some of the steps people can take who find themselves being a little bit over trusting, or, in that situation? Like, what are some things that they can do when they're looking for a provider, or to keep an eye out for?
I always just go back to menopause.org. I think they are very, very heavily, everything is very much research based. They don't recommend anything that hasn't been thoroughly studied and tested as a form of treatment. I think they don't even recommend yoga because it hasn't been, now obviously they're not saying yoga is bad, but they are not going to come out and say yoga will help you with menopause, because it hasn't been, there's not enough research saying that it's effective to treat it, in any way. So they're very much heavily on the research. Now, however, when you go to menopause.org and you look for a provider, you can see anybody that is a member of the Menopause Society, and anybody that is a provider can join. I've joined, I'm a member, but I don't have the MSCP beside my name. That credential means you've taken the Menopause Society exam and you've passed it, and you are a menopause-informed clinician.
Okay, so go to menopause.org,
Yeah.
which is the Menopause Society. You can do a provider lookup there.
Yeah, you can search in your area, like,
Right.
for providers.
But you need to look for the
CP.
MSCP.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
It's a little blue badge that'll show up
badge.
beside their name.
Okay, that means they've taken they've been vetted.
Yeah,
and
they've
they
taken the
actually
test.
do know what they're saying and talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a level of trustworthiness there that you can't have with just someone else who doesn't have the badge.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And I will say, I have met other clinicians, talked to other women, and they will tell me about their doctors. And there are some amazing menopause doctors out there that aren't a part of the Menopause Society that are doing great evidence-based work that, didn't pay for that test or credential or anything, but you just don't know. I mean, I don't know how you would know that unless you just talk to somebody and they can tell you.
Right. Yeah, so it sounds also like personal referrals, from someone you really do know you can absolutely trust. I mean, that's one of the reasons why once I realized I'm in menopause, and I was just like a wild woman. I was telling everybody, because I'm like, I don't want anyone else to not know what this is, and that they don't have to suffer, because I had women in my life, thank God, who were like, oh, look, go get help, do this, do this. You don't need to suffer. So I'm like, I just started talking to my dental hygienist about it. I'm like, what? You're having hot flashes? You want to check that out, you know?
Yeah.
So yes, so referrals by people you know very well that you can trust, who may have a provider who may not be in the Menopause Society list,
Yep.
but is good and evidence-based. And if you don't have that, that's a good place to start.
Yeah. That's a good place to look.
So how does because you also do EMDR. What's EMDR stand for again?
Eye movement desensitization reprocessing.
Right. And can you just talk a little bit about that, like how that factors into the work that you do with others?
Yeah. So that is it's a totally different kind of modality in terms of therapy. And it's really used a lot for reprocessing trauma. So it's very much focused on like how the trauma shows up in your body. So how you feel it in your body. You can do EMDR even if you don't even necessarily remember specifics about whatever happened. So I'll give you just an example with me. So I was having a lot of issues, trouble driving all of a sudden, which I know is just an increase in anxiety and perimenopause that can show up too. But I also had a really bad car accident when I was 20. And so I decided to do some EMDR. I did this actually while I was getting trained in it. So while I was going through the training, we have to practice on each other. So I used this as a way. We would talk about one certain image from the car wreck. So for me, it was like seeing everything from the back seat in the floorboard. And that was just sort of this image I went with. So I didn't have to talk about the car wreck or anything. I just had to make like a snapshot image, and that's what I picked. So that's what we focused on. So we'd focus on that. We would then like, okay, you would rate how you feel in your body when you see that image. I don't know, like a 1 to 10 or something. So then you would do, I'm moving my hands like, so what you're doing is you're making your eyes go back and forth.
Got it.
And that is bilateral stimulation, which that's what we do whenever we sleep we have our REM, our rapid eye movement.
Okay.
So they think that is what sort of is the brain's way of processing whatever went on during that day. So what we do is you bring that image up from the trauma, whatever it is, you kind of find it in your body, and then you do the eye movement.
Got it.
So you put those all together, and it's a much longer, detailed process than what I'm explaining, but that's just a way, and then you sort of let your brain do the work. So you do the eye movements. So I have some tappers over there that I use when I do it. They're just little vibrations, and people hold them in their hand and they vibrate. So that also creates your eyes.
Okay.
If you've ever listened to like bilateral music, it does the same thing. So there's a lot of different ways you can enact the bilateral stimulation part, but you pair it with these other things, and then your brain sort of reprocesses it.
Right.
So what my brain did is, in that moment where I'm doing that, and I'm rating it, I don't know, a 7 or a 10 or something, in terms of like, when I see that image of everything in the floorboard. And then you kind of let your brain do its thing, and by the end of it, I'm like, wow. So there were people that are there that were helping me. There were, a lot of great things that, I can't even think about how it was, but it made the severity of that image a lot less severe, where it did not enact any kind of physical sensation from me anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. So the way that looks in my life now is that before, when I would start driving, my body would react in that way as if I was back in that car wreck. So what it did is sort of reprocessed that image of the car wreck to not enact such a severe response. So now when I drive, I don't automatically freak out the way I used to.
Wow.
So that's a very long-winded way of saying
that's
how
really,
it works.
Because it's one of those things like EMDR is like, it's here, there, and everywhere. You hear about it here, there, and everywhere. So I thought it would be really helpful to just sort of have a little bit of a breakdown from someone who uses that in in her practice, what that actually is.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
And it can look different. Now, obviously, that's a very small piece of trauma. You know, it was a specific incident that happened, you know, that took that long. And it was only affecting me in the way of which I drive. So,
Right.
But for more severe forms of trauma, longer, a lot of people have a lot of different layers of trauma, and it shows up in every different way. It can look a lot different, but that's just sort of a very specific, easy way that you can, you know, it shows up and works.
Right. Okay, I'm going to loop back to the perimenopause/menopause, because I mean, I would go to work, right, and I would be talking normal. I would be talking about something very normal, and I could hear myself yelling. And I'm like, why am I yelling? I'm not even upset. Like, I don't even feel upset.
Yeah.
It's just coming out of me.
Like it was coming out as like anger, even though you weren't feeling angry?
Yeah, like I would just sound loud and be like almost yelling for no reason. And what I was saying and how I was saying it did not add up together.
Yeah.
Like they were totally different. And internally, I wasn't even feeling upset. And they were just looking at me, and I'm like, oh, I did the thing again, didn't I? Where I'm like yelling at you, essentially. So at some point, I just looked at my team and I was like, listen, y'all, I'm in menopause. So I'm working on it, like I'm getting help, but it's going to take a minute. So just please don't take this personally. Because I can't control it. Like I can't, it's not a matter of self-control.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think what you did there is perfect. It's sort of recognizing what you're doing and telling people, like, this is what's going on, this is how it may show up, this is how you can support me. Did you like let them know, like, if I do this, I'm not meaning it to be mean, or I'm not yelling?
Yeah, I just said, look, I'm in, and I think so for me, it was like that shame of the menopause word.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm like, fuck that, basically. I was like, that's what it is. And I need to tell these people. I had no frame of reference for that or modeling of that. I just instinctively did that because I didn't know what else to do. And I felt bad because I'm like, this is not how I am, really. And they know that. So it was very weird. Like, what happened to that lady?
Yeah.
You know, she's being all weird all of a sudden. So I just, even there were men in my team, and I'm like, listen, sorry if this is too, TMI, but I'm in menopause. So just buckle up, everybody.
Yeah.
For like a minute, because I'm getting meds, but it's going to take, it's not a switch you can flip. Yeah. So what would you say to like a family member or like a husband or a partner or, kids are in the home or even a friend?
I think just bringing attention to whatever it is that's going on and letting people know, like, this is how it's showing up for me. This is what I'm struggling with. This is how you can best support me.
Right.
Sometimes I'll still have moments where, I don't know, I'll be feeling super emotional for whatever random thing. And it will feel like the biggest thing in the world, sometimes. And I can't even remember what it was the other day. Something. It was either work related or it had nothing to do with my family or anything. But I was just crying, and my husband's listening to me, and I'm just going on, and he just looked at me in the eyes and he said, do you think that you could possibly be overreacting? And it was just like that moment, and I was like, it's a possibility. Yeah, I was like, it's a possibility.
Maybe.
Yeah. So there was no judgment. He wasn't coming at me like, you are so dramatic, you're overreacting. It was just more of a logical thing of okay, do you think there's a chance that you could be overreacting? And it was just that moment that snapped me out of that sort of emotional loop to be like, okay, there's a possibility that I am blowing this up a little bit. So let's take a step back. And it was all I needed. And he knows, he doesn't need to come at me with judgment. He doesn't need to be like, okay, I'm just going to completely ignore her because I have no idea what to do there. And he knows just to sort of show up with curiosity, not judgment, and just sort of poke me with some logic.
I love that. So it sounds like a continuation of the asking for what I want, asking for what I need, communicating, letting people know, not being so ashamed, but just popping that lid off of the shame of by and talking about it versus not talking about it. Even if you're not talking about it well, just start somewhere. Is what I'm hearing. And then also as a family member or a friend, because I had some friends who I was sure were like, what in the heck is going on? And I was trying to explain, but I didn't know what I didn't know. But so I also heard in there, as a friend or a family member, partner, whatever, even work colleague, being curious about like, hey, how can I support you in this moment?
Definitely. And if you yourself can be able to tell that person how they can support you, in this moment, if you see me, doing this, I need you to just walk away, just walk away from me. Some people really hate that. Some people will say, I really need a hug. If you see this happening, what I need right now is a hug. Or some people, I just need you to sit and listen, and just let me have my moment. Or some people need you to poke me with some logic. That's usually what I need in those moments. So you have to be able to recognize like what you need and then tell people, this is what I need. Because most people, if they're in your family or your coworkers, they love you and they want to support you. They just don't know what to do.
Right. They're like, literally, I don't know what this is.
And everyone's different. Everybody needs different things. So you got to understand sometimes you just need to get yourself out of the situation, go take a walk and don't be bothered for 10 minutes. Let yourself sort of regulate you. So you've got to understand what helps you in that moment and then be able to communicate it with the people that want to help you.
Is that one of the things you work on with the women you meet with, that you work with, is sort of those tools and So tell me about you have a guidebook out, which I know the link to that is in your Instagram profile. I'll include all of that in the show notes to all the things. So, but tell me a little bit about the guidebook.
So that came about as I am very... there is nothing in that book that I haven't talked about that isn't on my Instagram somewhere in one form or another, whether it's on a post, a story, a comment, a caption. So basically, people were just coming to me, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? How do we get diagnosed? How do we do this? How do we do that? And I was saying it over and over and over. And I thought I need to make it into some thing where it can just be one place. What do I do if I think I have ADHD? How do I get diagnosed? What do I say? What do I do if I think I'm going through perimenopause? What do I do? What do I say? What do I do if I think it's both? How do you treat both? How does that look from medication standpoint, therapy standpoint, things I can do at home by myself, ways to do that. So I was like, I got to put this together. I got to do this. But I just didn't have the capacity to do that at that point. So I don't get paid from Instagram. I don't know if people think I do, but I don't. It's all free.
Yeah. So no, it's one of the things I truly love about what you're doing. That drew me to you was the realness of the content, the genuine, it feels genuine. It's like you said, it's just what pops up into your head that day or that moment that you're like, this is what I want to put out there today. It's no planning involved. That piece, and how free you are and generous you are with all this amazing information. It's really incredible, I have to say. And I really I admire it deeply. Yeah.
Well, I hate that I charge for that book. It's something that I don't love, but I did take 2 weeks out of my life where I didn't work and I didn't do anything but focus on it. And then I paid somebody to help me do it, with my own money and my own time. And I've had people say, that is a high value thing.
Yes.
And you have to approach it as that. And so basically I'm like, okay, then I will offer this for sale. But literally, and I tell people this all the time, if you want to go look through all the posts, the captions, which is what I did to make it, I went and pulled all that stuff out. It's all there, but here it is all packaged up nicely with scripts of how you talk to your doctor, how to do this. But honestly, and I just want to tell people, if you can't afford it, it's $19. If that is out of your budget, just email me, because I will give it to you. It is. I'm just trying to make the money back that I spent to have it made.
Listen, y'all, we're going to help Mandi make the money back. Okay, $19. No. I can say it. See, I can say it.
Yeah.
You're not saying it. I'm selling it right now.
You don't have to. You don't
I know
have
you don't.
to.
I know I don't
No.
have to, but I want to. I really do,
Yeah.
because it's been a real journey for me to be like, hey, everybody, really become a paid subscriber. You know,
I hate hearing that. You know.
Yeah, it's a struggle for me, because I'm like, I don't want to do that, and yet I don't gotta. I want to get paid. I do. I
know.
put a lot of work in.
I know.
It's a lot of, like, this isn't just like popping out. Like, it takes time and energy and all the things. So it's actually a practice for me to value myself by saying, okay, there's also a financial component here, and that's fair. And also, I hate it. So I understand totally. That's why I'm like, I can say it for you.
It is. It's very hard, because to value, something that you've done, and put a money value on it whenever you're like, I really just want to give this for free, because like that's the heart in it. But also, like, I have to make a living too, and I really did take a lot of time in my own money to make it, so I have to, value it as well. And it is valuable. It is. Yeah.
No, I admire all of it, and I admire even the struggle with doing that piece of it. Like, I relate 100%. It's difficult. It's very difficult. It's a very strange combo. And my next growth edge is this piece. Is, I'm doing this tour. My whole mission, my why is, I want to get women's voices out there. I want to get their stories out there. And I believe that 100%. And I will put it on the line and drive around the country to do it. And I'm like, and I also have bills to pay, and the hotels to cover, and cups of coffee to buy. So there's this financial piece, and I'm like, okay, Hella, at some point, right, this is a growth edge for you. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be all or nothing, this or that. What's that middle place look like? Not so sure yet.
I know. It's a growth for me too, in that area too. I don't ever want to be one of those people that just constantly promote stuff. Like, I just would never ever want to be like that. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. That's why I was like, okay, we're like Insta friends, not just because Instagram, but like instant, like souls meeting. It felt like to me.
I know. It's funny how when you find like your people.
Yes. Yeah.
And you just know.
Yeah. And being more open to finding them wherever.
Yeah.
Like, they're not always in the places you think they're going to be.
I know.
So, yeah. In any case, if you want to support, y'all, Mandi's efforts here to put this out into the world, $19. And if money is an issue, just email her.
If money is an issue, just email me. Yes, because I want everybody to have that information.
Yeah.
I'm not gatekeeping anything at all.
I think it's an incredible gift to have that all collated up into one bundle of things. Because we don't know, and it's overwhelming. So I really appreciate you collating it all into one place. Well, thank you for your time, Mandi. This has been a delight, and thank you really again for all that you do and all that you put out there. So
thank you for all that you're doing too.
Oh, well, thank you.
So exciting.
Oh, I do have something for you, and this it's just a little something. I felt for you it was especially important.
That is so cute.
I'm handing her a disco ball ornament.
I love it. I'm going to put it on this olive tree, right?
Yeah. So now we'll take a picture of it before I leave. Oh, there's even actual olives on there. Wow. That's fascinating.
Well, they're not real.
Well, but that's still, I'm like, wow, they have actually olives.
They're green and black olives.
Dang.
Oh, that's perfect.
Oh, that's perfect.
That is
my
perfect.
gosh. You might even get a disco ball sunset situation.
Yeah.
If the light's right. All right. Well, thank you, Mandi. It was really wonderful.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing what's next.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing what's next with you too.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to The Stories That Sparkle, a space I created for women to share in their own voices the intricacies of their stories. And I mean, wow, a just enormous thank you to Mandi. I mean, really, truly. I mean, she's just so amazing. And I'm so freaking grateful for the time we get to spend together. Not just in Dallas when I was there with her in person, but also just in between via Instagram and all kinds of other ways. She's just been a huge support to me and encourager of me, and I am so very grateful to all of the things she does. Links to all things Mandi are in the show notes, including her guidebook, which is a fully vetted, just chock-a-block piece of information about all things menopause, perimenopause, ADHD, the correlations, the overlaps, how to talk to doctors, all the things. Anything you could possibly ever want or need to get you started on this journey is in that guidebook. So please check that out. And of course, if money is an issue and it's not in your budget to buy it, please do reach out to Mandi. She is not joking. She is more than happy to get it to you for free. So, and of course, follow her on Instagram and you get tons of up-to-date info there as well. If you're enjoying the stories that sparkle, please do me one small favor, pass it on to 2 friends, just 2, and encourage them to download, subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, whatever, all the things, okay? And if you have a story you want to share or a topic you would like me to cover in an episode of the podcast, please drop me a line to hellarader@substack.com, because together we bring light into dark places.